Hello and welcome to Bucket Cinema Podcast. Today we're just gonna have some fun, right? We decided not to pick anything serious because everyone needs a break.
That's
So
right.
you basically picked it, and I went along with it because I think it's fun. We are gonna talk about Plan 9 from outer space.
Yes, I
I
love this
couldn't
movie.
even I couldn't even give you a plot synopsis for
Yeah, because it's kind of unintelligible. Like, there's nothing makes sense about it. I mean, there is a plot
no,
line, but
kinda.
it's mostly, it's very kind of all over the place.
Okay, so
Because,
basically, Ed Wood just wanted to make a movie, and you gotta give him praise because he made a movie, and we're still talking about it. But he had no money,
mhm,
and he had no idea how to make a movie.
right.
But he
But
somehow got Bela Lugosi to be in it.
yes, he got Bela Lugosi,
Which
he
at
got
the time,
Vampira.
Bela Lugosi was doing awful movies, but Bela
Yeah,
Lugosi is still a big name.
yeah.
And like I said, this was his last movie. Unfortunately, he died during the filming of this, and the character that he plays was not done filming, so they had to replace him with, I think it was one of the doctors for Ed Wood's wife or something that he asked to be in the rest of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So the character just
Mm-hmm.
covers its face for the rest of the movie and pretends that it's still Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, because it really is. It has Vampira in it. It has what was his name? Criswell is like the narrator, which if you're not familiar with Criswell, he's like a psychic. He made like psychic predictions on television for like events that were going to happen and all this other stuff, and which was kind of like I would say kind of like a big deal since this is during the time of like the 40s and 50s when he was making predictions and stuff. So it's just a very like, why are you here type movie. I don't know. It's so weird, but it's such an amazing movie. And I guess essentially, the plot behind it are these aliens, have created this doomsday weapon essentially that makes the dead from the earth come back to life. And it's also very confusing because it's like they kind of look, and the characters look like vampires, the ones that they bring back to life, but they're not vampires. They're like kind of like zombies.
I don't think it matters.
It doesn't, but it's such a wild time, and it's one of those movies where I feel like a lot of people have heard of it if they haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Because it has like a cult following. It's kind of like, I've heard it be compared to The Room, or The Room be compared to it, since, Plan 9 came
was
first.
So Bad It's Good movie before The Room was the So Bad It's Good movie. Before The Room even existed, this movie was already out because this came out in '59. So this has some history to it. We found the VHS at a flea market.
Yeah.
So we have this on VHS, which I think is the best way to watch it. As crappy as possible.
Exactly.
I think Ed Wood did everything about it. He directed, wrote, edited, produced. He did everything.
Yeah.
He couldn't afford anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
He clearly couldn't afford a set design, which I think is the worst about this, but it's also the most funny thing. Everything is cardboard. They have a cardboard spaceship. They have cardboard crosses and little. The whole cemetery is made of cardboard. It looks awful and hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. It's everything about it is just so man-made. And
yeah, that's inspiring.
Yeah, no, and I agree, because
seeing people's failures, but they fail with a lot of passion. I think that's inspiring, because even if you don't have what you need to make a movie, that doesn't stop these people. It's the same thing with American movies. They don't know what they're doing, but they're still doing it. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think, you know this about me, but our listeners don't. But I had made a movie parody based on Plan 9. I was in high school. I was my junior year of high school, and I was working with the middle school film club. And I basically directed a whole bunch of middle schoolers on our adaptation of Plan 9, which we called it Punk 9. Yeah, right. I didn't come up with the name. It was the teacher that was in charge of the film club. I was just kind of working with them. But yeah, very much in the spirit of Plan 9. It was very cheaply made. Because a middle school film club doesn't have a budget of anything, so everything we made was out of cardboard, and our spaceship scenes, we just had middle schoolers cover a wall and desks and computers in tinfoil to make it look futuristic-y.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is the equivalent to Tarantino's My Best Friend's Birthday, where you just did it before you started actually doing serious things.
Yeah, it was because it was like
you're gonna try to hide it. You're gonna lie, like Tarantino lies that it got burned at a home fire or something, so no one watches it.
Mm-hmm.
But people are gonna find it. You're gonna be.
No, I don't. I genuinely don't even have a copy of it. I have a copy of my other one, but
yeah, it's the other one.
Yeah,
but the other one might be better than Plan 9, which is like not saying much.
No, but it's I had a lot of fun doing it, and I definitely think it's in the spirit of Plan 9. Like, just make something. Like, don't think about it. Don't just do it.
No, he did think about it. I think he had this idea and he really wanted to make it, but he didn't have the means. And he said, "Screw it, I'm gonna make it anyway." And he did. And it's a classic for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it's not even that bad because it's so funny. It's funny.
It's so watchable. It's got aliens. It's got government conspiracy. It has pretty much everything you really want.
Cemetery zombies.
In a cult classic.
Wander around. It has plot that makes no sense. It has Vampira and Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's really not much else to say about this movie. I just think that this was going to be a fun episode to talk about it because.
Yeah, I think we've laughed so much over. Just recording.
Because it's just so ridiculous, and it brings back to me so many memories because it's part of my upbringing, I guess, in terms of the movies that I watched and enjoyed and what made me want to create stuff,
Mm-hmm. So yeah, creating is always great, and when it's free, it's even better. And I mean, if you're listening to this at this point, you might be liking the episode, and we're not putting that much money into it.
Yeah, no, I think it's just the production around the movie is very inspiring,
Yeah, this episode is just us telling people if you want to make a movie, make a movie. If you want to make a podcast, make a podcast.
Yeah,
and if no one cares about it, who cares? It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
just do it and have fun. This is why we're making this episode, because it's so much fun, and we don't expect many people to listen to this one in particular.
Yeah, because it's like not. I mean, it's not unknown, but it's not super well known either. I would say It's not super well liked either. I mean, you look at the Letterboxd comments, and
I've never looked at the Letterboxd comments.
Oh, half of them are just like 1.5 stars, half a star. They obliterate it, but
yeah, a lot of people say it's the worst movie of all time. They're very wrong.
Yeah.
It has a semi-level of professionalism. I don't think it comes from Ed Wood. I think it comes from, a lot of experienced actors that he managed to bamboozle into making this.
Yeah. Like the main character, he's like the FBI agent, or he might not be FBI, but he's the government agent that I think is trying to... Oh no, he's not a government agent. He's the pilot. My bad. He's the pilot that sees the the flying saucer and he wants answers and no one's giving him answers. Like he actually kind of is a good, like, semi-decent actor. But, you know, just the whole thing is just so bizarre and nothing makes sense. And like, I think
I've mentioned that we found this at a flea market, and it was in Florida, so everyone there is a little, you know, out of whack if you're not familiar with Florida. But do you remember the guy we bought this from? He got really giddy.
I do.
He knew that we were buying it because it is bad, because it's fun to make fun of it. So he got really giddy and started talking about it. So everyone that watches it loves to make fun of it.
Yeah, everybody knows. Like, if you know, you know. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like it's just an older version of The Room. Really, it's we mock it, but at the same time, both Tommy Wiseau making The Room and Ed Wood making Plan 9, they both made more stuff afterward because of this project that's unintentionally funny, that people pick up as a cult phenomenon for being so bad it's good. And then they actually end up having more to them than just this. Not that their careers are great, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Ed Wood has always had a tumultuous relationship with Hollywood.
Yeah, and Tommy Wiseau might be one of the worst actors I still don't know what his accent is. It's very hard to understand him. I think that's his mystique, right? We don't know where he's from. It just appeared out of nowhere and has a lot of money.
Exactly. But there's just so much about this movie that makes me happy. It brings such joy to my life.
Yeah. I'm glad people follow their passions and fail tremendously.
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember this movie, it was our first ever film festival that we were putting on too. And this was like the feature film, since it was mostly like all the kids that were in the film club, they were in this movie. And so, you know, all their parents were expecting to see. And we got like this keynote speaker that actually worked on movies and was a film professor at one of the local colleges that I lived near. And he basically was like, "Oh, do what you're passionate about, you know, even if it doesn't turn out great, at least you did it." And, you know, talked about how this movie was kind of a staple of that statement being true, you know?
It is true. It's what it's all about. You gotta follow your passions.
Yeah, but I just remember the finished product because my friend edited the movie. We had like kind of worked on it together. She had Movie Maker Pro.
Ooh,
and she edited
Pro
it.
version. Look at it go.
And I just remember being kind of embarrassed to like show this to everyone. But it was good. And, you know, sometimes you gotta...
I mean, we kind of did that with the podcast, right? We were a little embarrassed. Just, you know, make it known. But now everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
Everyone, not the president, but everyone in our circles.
Yeah. But it's fun. And I think that this movie is just an all around good time. And we haven't really talked about the movie that much, to be fair, because it's so, I mean, just everything, like the character names even are kind of like, I don't understand why you would go with this, because there was, I think one of the aliens is called, Eros, which is like Cupid.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like, the Roman version of Cupid, which I don't know if he just thought that was like a cool alien name or it sounded alien-like, you know? So he was going to go with it, but...
That's the best we can get. This is before Chewbacca.
It's just like, yeah, let's just go with this human Earth name.
Honestly, the more we keep talking about it, the more I just want to grab an unfinished script and just go in it and start making something. It sounds like it would be
so
fun.
Inspiring. Exactly. It's so inspiring. I kind of miss making movies because I haven't made one since I was a senior in high school. And I used to make,
Same.
I made two feature quote unquote movies that were based on, one was based on Plan 9, and I'll give you a little sneak peek on the other one. It was Repo Man.
Yeah.
That Repo I did the Kid. Other one on. Yes, my Repo Kid. That you can probably find that somewhere.
Oh, let's not say that.
But even before that, I made like a whole bunch of short films with my friends, and
yeah, I've only made shorts.
Yeah, or
I even made one in Spanish. I have a crime thriller, a short crime thriller in Spanish. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's kind of unfair because you've seen my work, I haven't seen yours,
and you never will.
Seems a little unfair.
No, you will at some point, but not that. Something I'll make in the future will.
I mean, I've always loved creating movies and creating stuff along those lines, because I mean, I used to, when I was little, I was in a, what would you call it, like an acting group for kids.
Theater club?
Yeah, it was like a theater club. Which you saw that movie too, where I was an actor.
Oh, yeah. You were very, very young. I was
so young.
House, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if you wanted to show it to me or just came on by accident, but I did watch it.
I think I showed it to you because it's so embarrassing. But it was like a retelling of Snow White, or not Snow White, Red Riding Hood. Mm-hmm. And I played 3 different characters, and one of them was like the leader of like the tree club that was talking about tree rights. But this is such a weird script that I'm pretty sure like the lady that ran the theater group like wrote herself. But like she had a character about like defects coming to the set and being like, you can't endanger Red Riding Hood because she's a child. And like, really and for those of you that don't know what defects is, it's like the Child Protective Services, basically.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
It's more like a stage play, like the 50s, 60s TV stage plays. I don't know if anyone's ever seen those, or I'm just a nerd. Something like someone like James Dean was in. It was in a TV stage plays where they're just doing a play on a stage, but it's filmed. That's basically what you did.
Yeah, pretty much. Because before that, we did a play that I don't remember the plot line ever, but I had 2 lines in it, like midway through the play. And, you know, any other time before that, I was just like watching the rest of the play from the sidelines, and then I'd come out and be like, oh, but something about the hill and the fence that protects us from it. I don't remember. It was so long ago at this point.
But do you have anything to say about the movie?
Yeah, I love it.
I think the cover art on the VHS is iconic. It's the most. I think that the cemetery set is iconic. I've seen it copied. They copied it for the Ed Wood movie with Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Also, I was just thinking about this, and it might not have been on purpose, but the cockpit scenes in Plan 9 kind of remind me of Airplane when they're in the cockpit and that, and they're just doing stuff, which it just might have to do with the fact that they're both
flickering, non-insistent buttons. Yeah. I think you see the boomstick in that scene. I think you see the boomstick, I'm pretty sure.
Exactly. So it kind of reminds me of that,
the top of the stage, one of those things. It's like it's terribly framed. I remember the first time I watched it was like so crooked at points.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if that was on purpose, but it kind of reminded me of it when we watched Airplane for the first time. But I mean, pretty much Plan 9 is it's so ingrained, I think, in Hollywood culture, at least. because I feel like anybody who has enjoyed movies or makes or likes to make things has seen Plan 9 or at least heard about it and have seen
I feel like this
parts
would be
of
like
it.
Tarantino's jam. He likes these awful movies.
Yeah.
I think he has a 16 millimeter of Manos, the Hands of God, which is one of the worst movies of all time. That one is one of the worst movies of all time.
Yeah.
And to get a 16 millimeter print of that movie is insane. So I feel like this would be something that Tarantino is also into. He's into some like weird crap. And this came out in his beloved generation. He loves the 60s. This is not from the 60s. It was like a year before. So
yeah, but still pretty close, and still very much.
I would still recommend anyone to watch it, as much as we like barely said anything good about the movie itself, and just more about the intent. I think you should still watch it. It's fun. It's just fun, and it's funny as well. Not on purpose, but it's funny. It's supposed to be a sci-fi thriller, but it's definitely not.
No, it's definitely.
It is. I guess it's sci-fi.
Yeah, they do try. They do try. But I gave this way higher than it probably deserves. I gave it a 5 out of 10, which is not like, for as much as I love it, it's not a crazy high rating. But considering objectively, it's such a bad movie. I feel like 5 out of 10 is generous.
I don't know if it's objectively a bad movie. It's objectively terribly done. But, a movie, you can still enjoy it even if it's terribly done. I've seen movies that are, like, awfully done that people enjoy. Like, terribly filmed or dubbed or just those really dark movies that were popular in the 2000s where you can't see anything. Yeah. People still enjoy, but it's technically they're not well done. But yeah, I give it a 4 because it's hilarious and it's inspiring, and these numbers mean absolutely nothing. Yeah,
I think mine's mostly because of the nostalgia purposes and how it.
We're just I don't even know where we give them numbers. I guess it's just engraved in movie podcasting.
Yeah, I mean, gives us a frame of reference to see how much we enjoyed it. But I mean, this isn't a really good representation on how much I enjoyed it.
Exactly. That's what I don't know. It defeats that purpose. And this reminds me of another movie that I think we both love. It's The Creature from the Haunted Sea.
Yes, the Creature from the Black Lagoon parody.
Yeah, which I think people confuse and think it's kind of like Plan 9 where it's accidentally bad.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a parody, and it's bad on purpose, and I think it's hilarious, and it's so enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly.
Some technical aspects are really bad, but just the script is definitely written like that on purpose.
Yeah, and I don't understand how people confuse it from trying to be serious versus it being a comedy, because there's so many parts of the script that I feel like show that they know they're trying to be funny.
Yeah, they have like dumb names like Agent SK-150 or something like that.
Yeah, or like there's just a telephone available for him to call the FBI or whatever in the rocks on a deserted island that no one's heard of.
It's a hilarious movie. If you guys have to, I guess like about an hour. I don't think it's an hour and a half. If you guys have the time, it's on YouTube.
Yeah. And if you've made it this far,
if you made it this
congratulations. This is such a kind of not serious episode. We didn't actually talk about the movie. This
is the Plan 9 of our episodes. It's a terrible episode, but it's really fun.
Yeah.
So we're just going to wrap it up there.
Yeah.
Don't waste people's time. Like, subscribe,
comment.
Rate us if you're going to rate us. Whatever you can show support in, please do, if you care to. And we'll see you next week with probably a better movie.